Hey, it's Laura.
It's Amanda.
And
we
we're
are Moms on a Mission, where faith, motherhood, and purpose come together.
We're not just raising children, we're raising disciples, striving to make an eternal impact in our homes and beyond.
Here, we choose grace over guilt, progress over perfection, and God's truth over the world's noise.
Together, we'll encourage, uplift, and equip one another to walk boldly in our calling as mothers on a mission.
So, grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive into this journey of faith-filled motherhood, one step, one prayer, and one mission at a time. Welcome back to Moms on a Mission. This will be episode 18, and I did not have to ask this time because I wrote it down on my notes.
Because it's my favorite number. Yeah, 18 is my favorite number. Yeah.
Why?
It was my jersey number in high school for softball. And then it kind of stuck, but 18 is my favorite.
Well, it's going to be our best one yet.
Absolutely, it is.
I love it.
What's your
Yay.
favorite number?
I don't. 7.
Is it 7?
Yes.
Number of completion.
Maybe.
It's biblical.
It's biblical, and that's all I know.
Yeah. We'll roll with it. Mine's 18, yours is 7.
I've always heard 7 streams of income is what you want to shoot for.
Yep.
So yeah. You put me on the spot.
Which makes sense, Miss Wealthy Kids Academy.
Yes. Yeah. So 7. We'll say 7. That's my favorite.
I like it.
All right. Well, we are on episode 18. This one's going to be the best one yet because it's Laura's favorite number. And we are on. Yes, let's jump in. We're actually going to start on talking about a topic that we didn't touch on it. We covered it in episode 16, but then we ended it. And Laura made this great comment and I didn't even understand it. And so we're going to go back and we're going to talk about that. And we're going to dig in a little bit more about how we can stay content and teach our kids contentment, but when we still feel like we have a really big mission. So let's dig in, and we are going to start off with a prayer as always.
Me or you?
I don't know. Do you have one?
I don't remember whose turn it was.
I don't either.
I always have one in my notes. Though,
okay, let's hear it.
Okay. All right. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, acknowledging that every good and perfect gift comes from you. As we step into part 2 of our conversation on contentment, we invite your presence to dwell richly in this space. Help us quiet the noise of comparison and the pressure of the world, and instead tune our hearts to your truth. Remind us that true contentment isn't found in circumstances or possessions, but in your unchanging character and faithful provision. Teach us to embrace the seasons that we're in, with all their beauty and challenges, and to trust that you are working in all things for our good and for your glory. Speak through us today, Holy Spirit, and let this episode reach every mom who feels restless, unseen, or weary. May it bring peace to anxious hearts, encouragement to the overwhelmed, and a renewed desire to find joy in the present moment. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I love the dwell, just dwell here, and what you said about that. I was like, ooh,
Rest here. Which I think this will really go along with, I feel like even the contentment aspect could go hand in hand with what Scott preached on the other day.
Yeah, about praying.
Bold prayers, which is, he touched on that, which was one of my, he referenced Mark Batterson's quote about God
I'm so
honors
glad you
bold
remembered
prayers.
the name because I could not remember.
I love Mark Batterson.
Yeah.
He is actually one of my bucket list preachers.
Ooh.
Because he preaches in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
At National Community Church. If you don't follow along to him, he's worth checking out.
Yeah.
But he's also the author of all of the Prayer Circle books,
Okay.
which are also amazing. There's several. It's like prayer circles around your kids, prayer circles around your spouse.
See, I want to dig into that really hardcore.
They're so good.
I have written down for next episodes of praying for our kids and praying intentionally about our kids and stuff like that. And of course, I loved the quote that he gave about praying bold prayers.
God honors bold prayers, and bold prayers honor God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I love that. But speaking of bucket lists.
Yes, I was so glad. Yes, I'm so glad you got there.
We, Maddox and I, when I say we made it onto our favorite podcast when they referenced a T-shirt that I gave David Pollock at the Banquet of Blessings last November. And then we went down as a family, I think it was the first week of June, down to Loganville to the Greystone campus and actually listened to Jonathan House preach.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched him online for years, but we actually went down and listened to him. It was a great message. But when they recorded their podcast the other day, David Pollock was wearing the T-shirt that I took to him, which has got like an inside joke on it between him and Pastor Jay. But they referenced the T-shirt and us coming down to visit, and Maddox taking a picture with Pastor Jay. So if you want to check it out, check out the clip here.
Hey, I'm loving the Family Goals shirt.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Did you see the back?
I want to see the back.
Read it for the people.
Okay, the sauna does not count as cardio.
This was bestowed to me as a gift from a loyal listener of Family Goals, and I just can't imagine it gets any more spot on than that.
That's a great shirt.
It's a good shirt.
I never said the sauna was cardio. It's simulated cardio.
You're still saying it's cardio.
Hey, by the way, that family, I think they're from Tennessee. They were at Greystone Church a couple of weeks ago, and their son wanted to get his picture with me, and he was so excited to get his picture with Pastor Jay. Made me feel kind of like a celebrity. Like, kids are wanting to take their pictures with me. And he said he's an avid listener to the Family Goals podcast.
That's pretty dope.
And so that was
wonder,
super cool.
But it was like the ultimate bucket list check off for being mentioned on our favorite podcast.
And what's funny is I don't know if they knew it was the same family, because Maddox wasn't with you when you gave him the T-shirt, was he?
He wasn't with us when I gave the T-shirt, because I went with Kinsey Chitwood to serve at the Banquet of Blessings.
Yeah.
And but I did talk to the pastor at that event.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we went to visit the church the other day, I said, hey, I said, I'm actually the one that gave David Pollock the T-shirt,
okay.
which just made him giggle, because he was like, yeah, like he needed any more of an ego boost. And, we giggled about it. And Maddox asked if he could take his picture with him, and he's funny. And he said, yeah, of course. He said, let me take my glasses off because I look younger. And then they stood beside each other, got the picture. It was awesome.
That is so, so cool.
Yeah.
How cool. You've been listening to that Family Goals podcast for
probably 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yep. That is so awesome. And you've worked with their causes, and now he's wearing your T-shirt.
That's awesome. Yep. I'm happy camper.
I love it. Very, very cool. All right, let's dig in. So at the end of episode 16, the whole episode was about being content when you feel like you have a big calling. How do we do it? How do we, make sure that we are still grateful and we're still thankful, but still knowing that we have a big mission to accomplish? So we kind of dug into that. We unpacked that a little bit. But then at the very end, you made this awesome comment. And I was like, I think I even said, I'll have to chew on that for a minute.
You did.
But I truly did not really understand the comment. And then when I went back and watched the episode, I was like, we gotta revisit, because there's a lot there. And so that's where we're gonna pick up in this episode, is the comment that Laura made, and then we'll dig into, even more contentment tips, tricks, and all the talks.
Yeah. So I actually said that I feel like discontentment can lower our standards, and it really should lengthen our patience. And we talked about it before we started recording about, what does that really look like?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I feel like if we have this goal or this mission or something that we're working hard to accomplish, and we get there and we feel like we did a great job, we're super proud of ourselves, we're excited, but everybody else isn't.
Right.
Or people don't share in the joy. They don't congratulate us. They don't pat us on the back like we were hoping for.
Right.
Is that going to lower our standard for the next goal that we set or the next thing that we set out to accomplish, because we didn't get maybe the praise, the congratulations that we were hoping to get with what we just achieved?
This really kind of makes me think too about our modern world of did I get the likes?
Right.
Did I get the follows? Did I get the comments? Do I have more subscribers?
Yeah.
And we talk about this a lot because of what we're doing with a public message. You know, how do you have a public message without social media these days? How do you sell things without Instagram? How do you,
Could you imagine how difficult that would be?
Yes, because it's difficult whether you have it or not.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
And
That is
having
true.
the social media makes it even harder sometimes, I think, because you feel like it's a need, and sometimes it is, especially with the podcast. But when, you know, your audience isn't what you want it to be and all these things, you do kind of feel like, is it for something? Am I, you know, I'm not content with this. I wanted this to be huge. I wanted this to be a big business. I wanted this to touch a ton of people. And then when it's not doing what you thought, you think, I probably, you know,
Yeah.
and there's a big thing, especially for me personally, of like, how long, you know, I'm very impatient. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
said, you know, like I'm very, like, if it's not happening pretty quick, I'm like ready to move on to something else, you know? Like,
But I think that's the world that we live in now with the whole instant gratification thing.
oh, yeah.
And I couldn't even tell you how long it's been. It's been a while. And I know several people, friends, family members that I follow along on social media that they've done it too. Quite some time ago now, I can say I turned off like the like comment on my Facebook because it is easy to look at the number
Mhm.
and kind of associate that with, you know, that's a lot.
Your worth.
That's not
your
very many.
self-worth is on because of
Right.
a thumbs
because
up
of
on a
because of
picture.
an icon. And so I turned it off a long time ago.
Yeah.
And because I don't care, I don't look at those things.
Mm-hmm.
I know several of friends have asked, you know, well, how many subscribers do you guys have on the Moms on a Mission YouTube page?
Mm-hmm.
And for, you know, the first couple of times I answered it, I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't look at it. I don't, not to be a bad thing, but I'm just like, I mean, to me, if there's one, that's great.
Yes.
If there's 100, that's great.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is contentment. Because I look at it like on the daily. And I'm
Do you
like,
really?
I mean, not truly on the daily, but especially now, like us getting more into video, it's in front of me more. And I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, I wonder if that made a difference.
Yeah.
And I like look at it. And that's not why we do this.
It's not.
And so the fact that you're okay with 1 or 1 million, that's contentment.
Yeah, I'm fine either way.
You're content with what you're doing. You're happy with what you're doing. And the whole idea is not to get followers and subscribers. The idea is to talk about and dig into God's word as it pertains to moms and women. And that's what we're doing, whether we have 1 subscriber or 1 million. So, yes, you just proved the point.
Well, and it's,
We can stop now. We're done.
see you next week. No, I think if I want to know numbers, you know, I'm just going to ask Daniel
Yeah.
for like the analytics and the logistics of everything because I mean, like you said, we have fun with this.
Yeah.
If it reaches people, and I truly think that it does because of the feedback that we've had.
Mhm.
And it's still, we still have to keep in mind that we've only been at this for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Couple of months, I guess. But we're still brand new in the grand scheme of things, I would say.
Yeah.
And it takes time and effort and
I'm like this about all things, though. I'm like, because, you know, I want things to happen in a hurry. I
Yeah.
want them to happen fast. And I think God thinks that it's funny, like, because nothing happens fast for
because
me.
he has a sense of humor.
I think that I think he thinks it's funny that he knows. I truly believe that God knows what I genuinely want in my heart, which is true inner peace. I truly want to remember my kids as children. I
Yes.
truly want to have spent the absolute maximum amount of minutes with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that to me, that is deeply important. But I spend my day chasing other things. But I think it feels like to me that he's like, just chill out.
Yeah, just relax.
You'll get there. This is not the right season, you know, like,
Yeah.
and so like to feel, and I feel like I kind of am coming into this place of like, I've always been worried about money, which is what has fueled that really to me on the backside of things. I'm ambitious, but it's always been more of like a worry, a burden on my shoulders about finances and income and things like that. And so I know that's where that comes from. But at the same time, it's like, he's got it. I've never needed for anything.
Mm-mm.
I am creating the things that I want, just slowly, much slower than I want. But if I was doing it quicker, I would not be doing the things that I genuinely want in my heart, which is to be spending as much time as I can with my kids at this stage in their lives.
Yep.
So I get it. It's just really frustrating.
Much easier said than done.
Yes.
And it's kind of touches on to that gratitude makes what you have enough. And I have in my notes here, because I had 2 pages before we recorded the previous episode about this. You know, do you think it's possible to be too goal driven? And I do.
Yeah.
I definitely think that it's possible. Um, and I feel like this is a good point too, is when you are a grateful human in general, I just feel like you're so much less likely to have bad days. Like,
Yeah.
they are going to happen, don't get me wrong. But if you just have a positive attitude and you're grateful, you know, and you have this mindset and this outlook on a regular basis, like, I just feel like it's kind of harder to knock you down.
Yeah.
And that's who I want to be. And I know I have said it multiple times, maybe not on this podcast, but amongst friends and family. Like, if I'm down, if I'm not smiling, if I'm not happy go lucky, like, something is bad wrong.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like I'm always in a good mood. And until, like, maybe I don't feel well, or you know, something is just super out of whack, but otherwise I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm ready to go. Um and I think that plays a lot into my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these things are much easier said than done. And I know that I told you before we started recording too, that Psalm 112 talks about godly delights and wicked desires, and that not all delights are good,
Yeah.
and not all desires are necessarily bad.
Right.
And so, you know, to that point, it was a conversation that I was overhearing about people that were using, like, winning the lottery was their example.
Mm-hmm.
And just, you know, Lord, let me hit the Powerball.
Right.
And thinking that they have this.
You know, there's a lot of Gainesville folks hitting the lottery these
I
days.
see that.
Gainesville's only about 30 minutes away from us.
Yes, it is.
I have considered making a few trips to the QT.
I'm not saying that I'm not going. But yeah, just that you can very easily get, like, sucked into that, you know, Lord, just let me win it all.
Yeah.
And but if you're truly, like, delighting in his word, and, you know, sometimes your heart will shift from that,
Mm-hmm.
because you will think, well, it doesn't matter if I've got the $1 million. I'm happy where I'm at.
Right.
Um,
I think there's another side to that coin too, is like when, you know, when you're thinking and praying about that stuff, maybe you have a financial hardship. You're like, if I could just get ahead of 100K on a lottery ticket, that would be great. That would
Yep.
do it. I would be ahead.
Pay off all my debt.
Yeah, there's that part, and then there is the I need the 10 million to do something that has been put on my heart.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want to bless these amount of people, and this is what I need to do it. The thing is, if it's been put on your heart and you feel as if it's a mission of yours, it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But it's there is like is it for me, or is it for the mission, or for
Right.
the you know, to be a bigger part of things? Is we've talked a lot at church, and some on this episode. It's not the love of money is not the issue, or I'm sorry, the money is not the issue. Money fuels all the things that we can build. It builds churches. It creates staff members to go out and preach and be able to dedicate their lives to touching other people's
It takes
lives.
kiddos on beach retreats.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it does a lot of good. It fuels ministry. But it's the love of it that, you know, can be the issue. So, you know, if you're praying for that lottery ticket, what is it for? What are you going to do with it? Who, you know, and here we are right back at the same conversation. Who are you going to bless with it?
And you're saying that reminds me of a study that I read. I don't know if it was a study. It was an article. And it was a group of gentlemen who decided that they were going to give this a shot. And because they didn't really have anything to lose. They made great money. They were very wealthy.
Mhm.
and they said that we're going to cap off our salary for the year.
Mhm.
So say we cap it off at, and I do think it was something like $250,000
Mhm.
was what they said that they were going to live off this year. That was going to be their max, their ceiling.
Mhm.
And anything that they made above that, they were going to give to the church.
Oh, wow.
So it was like tithing on steroids.
Mhm.
And they did make like $750,000 that year.
Mhm.
And every one of them gave the additional $500,000
Nice.
and just lived off of the 250,000.
Uh-huh.
And once they did that, they continued in that trend every year and would like manipulate the numbers for what they were going to live off of the
Right.
additional year, budget wise, whatever. But they did continue in giving the additional money
Mhm.
to the church every year after that.
How cool.
And I was like, that's bold.
That is.
Because that's awesome.
Yes.
But you know, what a risk that you're taking to step out in faith and doing that.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and that's another form of contentment. I mean, if you know, like, and that's just kind of speaks to what we talked about last week. If you know the number, if you know the budget, if you know the end goal, this is what I need to get this done. I can live off of $250,000. Everything else, I don't even need it. Like
right.
that is contentment, because in my mind right now, I am going, okay, 250, yes, that is a lot, but a lot, they're like, when I hear big money or, very wealthy, I'm thinking up in the millions. And,
Right.
And then I'm like, I'm thinking, okay, like I know, like anything extra, I'm always like, we could do this on our property.
Yeah.
We could build this on our, we could
Mhm.
add this, and that's just going to add equity. Time to redo that bathroom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that would be such an easy thing to be like, okay, that was great this year, honey. But, or, next year we're going to redo that bathroom. You
Right.
know, like,
Which I think goes a lot with what Pastor Scott said the other day about when you pray your prayers, are they just life-changing for you
yeah.
or are they life-changing for, a lot of people?
Yeah.
Because of referencing the young man that was praying for the money to come in to be able to expand the
Yes.
Dahlonega campus. And, it does stop and make you think, what exactly am I praying and who is going to benefit from my
Right.
prayers?
Yeah.
And I think it is really easy to sit here and cover yourself and your family in some bold prayers.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little harder to cover the community in bold prayers,
Yeah.
the county
Yeah.
to cover them. I feel like that's just a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. Because those tend to be a little more generic too.
Yeah.
Bless us, watch over us, help us build this, instead of like, no, just like we talked about last week. I know what I need.
Yeah.
I know where we're headed. This is exactly what, what we need to pray for. And when we get there, we need to find peace in that and be happy with that and content in that moment, so.
And we spoke about this too a little bit before we started and said that, comparison is the thief of joy
Mm-hmm.
and gratitude is, the complete opposite.
Right.
So do you feel like comparison is a one-way game as far as people always comparing themselves to those that have more, as opposed to comparing themselves, their families, their financial status to those with less?
I think there's kind of two things about that. I think like I know that I'm so guilty about comparing myself, in especially like real estate career or just different money driven things. I tend to be like, oh, golly, their business is so successful. I wish I would, could have built something like that, or I should have stuck it out like they did, and I would have been making that much money or whatever. And so I think that's the easy and the obvious one. But then there is kind of this place that you can kind of cross over, I think. And sometimes I do find myself being like, there was like those people over there, they're doing the right thing. They are living much more simply, or they, are, what an amazing job they're doing. I know their situation, and yet they are still so happy and they're content and they have so much less to deal with. I have spent the last 5 years trying to get into real estate investing. It's amazing, and it will build wealth at some point if that's what you're doing with yourself and with your money and things like that. But it is stressful,
Mm-hmm.
and it's scary, and it's a very heavy burden of, you think about, you buy a home and then you put a stranger in it and you hope that everything is taken care of and that no one gets hurt or worse.
Or that they keep it up to your standard.
Yes.
That's where I struggle.
And then what happens if the economy turns, and then, you're upside down, or you can't get the same amount of rent, or, there's a lot of heavy burden and heavy load that comes with those things. And so, like, there is sometimes, I think, where, you can kind of get to a point and it's amazing, but then you're like,
Yeah. But, Josh said it once upon a time when we had our team of, I think there were like 10 of us total.
that's a huge real estate team.
It was. And it was, if you talk about stressful, because he put it this way, because, obviously people want leads. Everybody's work ethic and go get it mentality was not the same. Some
Right.
people just wanted to sit back and have you hand it to them on a silver platter,
Mm-hmm.
which, okay, who doesn't want that?
Right.
But a lot of real estate is you've got to go get it.
Yeah.
And you've got to go earn it. Because if you don't and it is handed to you, you're not going to benefit as monetarily from it as if you would have just put in the work to go get it yourself.
Yeah.
Because of splits and commissions and all
Mhm.
these other various things that play into it. But there was literally a time where he said, we're not just responsible for our mortgage right now. We're responsible for our mortgage and 8 others.
Yes.
And 8 other utility bills.
Yep.
And 8 other car payments.
Yeah. Those people are depending on you
they
as
were.
an employer.
They were.
Yep.
And, looking at it from that perspective was like, man, that's a big task.
Yeah. And then you start looking at the ones that didn't blow up,
Right.
and that didn't make it big. And you're like, have we made a mistake?
Yeah.
Or did they know something we didn't know? Because now we're carrying this huge burden and we're dragging this huge responsibility. And so I think that you can go both ways. I think it's very simple to compare yourself with someone who has more, but I do think there is kind of the threshold where you get to a certain point and you turn around and you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
whew, this is a lot.
I feel like just in general, and maybe I'm totally off the mark here, more people find themselves standing there going, oh, I wish I had the yacht.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
oh,
for sure.
I wish I had the mansion. I don't know of anybody that's really going, oh, I wish I had to go share a vehicle with my spouse and be a 1 vehicle family.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we lived in a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment.
Yeah.
But like you said, some of the people that do those particular things are happier
Mm-hmm.
than the people with the mansion and the yacht.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that too goes back to the threshold that we spoke about with was it like when I said it was like if you made more than
Yeah,
$70,000,
70.
your happiness didn't
Yep.
change. I think there's a lot to that.
Oh yeah.
A lot of truth to that.
I mean, yes, totally. If you really kind of think about, what comes with the responsibility that comes with the more, you can see how that
Yeah.
would not necessarily, your needs are met at that point typically, and your true needs. And so after that, then it's all extra.
I just figured the number itself would be higher,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. How old was
Maybe
that
not.
study? Our economy's changed
I
drastically
think
in
it
the
was
last couple of
18
years.
or 19, so not not crazy old.
Yeah. Yeah. But in comparison with our 2025 numbers, you
Yeah.
can see, it still means the same.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It is easy to compare with with everybody else. But I think, and maybe that's another aspect of contentment. If you can understand that, yes, there's more on this end, but there might be some, we may have more peace than them. We might be spending more time with our family than them.
Yeah.
We may be accomplishing more of the personal goals. And, I want a garden, I have time to make one. I
Yeah.
wanted to spend the afternoon with my kids, I could. than the, like, you see on TV all the time, oh, they have a yacht, but dad who provided the money to buy the yacht is never on the yacht.
Right.
Because he's working.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely two sides to that for sure.
Yeah. And I think that it's that we are, we're very likely to feed and grow whichever one we give more time and attention to. So if we count our blessings, those are what grow.
Yeah.
If we're just constantly keeping tabs on what we're discontent about, unfortunately, that's what's going to grow.
And I have something to add really quick to the end of that. I have been feeling very convicted about the fact that so many of my prayers have been answered. I have been so blessed, and I find myself, as I've said many times, looking around and being like, oh, this is a lot to take care of. I have so much work to do. My things aren't popping off like I want. The success isn't, my real estate stuff is slow, all these things. And I just started to kind of like, I feel like I just kind of started to talk to God and think about that with God. And I have found myself lately, when I go walk in the morning, I started walking around our pond instead of up and down the street. And I was like, we have like a little fish pond in the front of the house that Matt was very insistent that we restore. Wasn't my first project done that I thought should be done, but that's what he wanted, and that's what we did when we bought our house. And
Now that it's done, though, are you glad that it's done?
well, and at first, no, I've hated that thing for 2 years. I'm
Okay.
like, it is stupid. But right now, my boys go down there almost every night. We had company over last night. They took their little boy, he wanted to go down and fish. We sat down there and we fished. I walk around it every morning and watch, the steam come off of it sometimes. And
Do you do like a gratitude walk around it?
well, I guess maybe now.
Oh, okay.
Like before, I was like, I try to walk in the morning, and so I would used to just go out and walk up and down the street, but I've tried to now I've started like walking around the pond, and just so and now I can kind of look at it and be like, yeah, this thing's great.
Yeah.
And like I just feel like God's maybe softening my heart some of like, because when I see my house, I see a project. When other people see my house, they see a beautiful home. And that doesn't matter about the size or anything. I feel like that's most women.
Yeah.
And most homeowners. You look at someone else's house, you're like, oh my gosh, so cute. It's adorable. Or wow, this is a dream home. How beautiful. And everybody that lives there is like, yeah. But this is what I have planned over here. And this is what we are working on over here. And these are our plans here. You see the work, they see the beauty. And so I've tried to kind of soften that for myself and just enjoy the pond and walk around it instead of ignoring it or, and looking at the house and being like, yes, there's a lot to do, but man, what a blessing. You know, it was literally what I prayed for.
Yeah.
So,
because I told you, I think that we as Christians, we've got the most to be thankful for. And we really should operate out of a gospel-driven optimism because we know the eternity and the paradise that's on the other side.
yeah.
And no matter how bad things get here, on earth, we know what we stand to gain on the other side of this thing.
Yeah.
And so if we start to have, just like a belief leak, then I think that leads into a gratitude leak.
Yeah.
Which just leads down a road of chaos and destruction. So if we can kind of just turn that on its head and, power through even some of the tough times, then what we stand to gain in the next life is worth what we endure here.
Well, and I'm sorry, did I interrupt you? Sorry, finish
No,
what
no,
you're
I was
saying.
done.
Okay. I was just going to say, we talk about stuff a lot in our, homes and properties and things like that. But we did talk about last week too, about, that you're content when you can look at your family and know that it's okay. If we have to walk away, we're still going to be okay as long as we got our boys. And I think, especially lately, we're coming to the end of the summer. Sometimes it's easy to even look at your kids and be like, "Oh my gosh,"
Yeah, I'm ready to send them back.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
I'm not.
no, I'm not ready to send them back either. But I think it is easy to get frustrated with them or spending a ton more time with them. But that's whole nother thing of like looking at the kids and being just so grateful, even if they are driving you insane. They are healthy. they're healthy enough to drive you insane.
That's right.
They're, I mean, our kids are right at that, like my oldest is 12, my youngest is 9. So their like bodies are changing. Their faces are like starting to change. Like,
Getting
you
a
know,
little acne on there.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And like they're growing and like just looking at them from afar, even while they're rolling in the floor fighting, you're like, but it's just so grateful of like those people that I have been blessed with that are driving me insane.
Yep. I always pray that my babies are healthy, strong, and intelligent.
Yes.
And that comes with, the intelligence aspect, I feel like may come with a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Why this? Why that?
Yeah.
But like I pray for that.
Yes.
And so if I have to dissect whatever topic that it is that they're interested in and give them some answers, I literally prayed for that.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It's just, I don't ever want us to sound like, it's about the house and the property. I'm very money minded. Everyone knows that, but it's about so much more than that. And, being grateful for the people around you, the atmosphere, the children, and all of the crazy that comes along with all of that. That's a whole nother level of gratitude.
Yep. And to literally, I'm trying to start instilling this into them. And I know it's really hard for their little brains to wrap around, but a good conversation is, boys, if Jesus didn't answer another one of our prayers, is what he's already done enough?
Yeah.
And you and I know that the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a little harder for them to wrap their minds around.
Right.
But it's like, that's just one of the things that I'm trying to instill is
It's just one of those things.
he's already done enough.
Yes.
Everything else, this is just a bonus.
Yeah.
He's already done enough.
Yep. You just got to keep repeating that to them over and over. I got to repeat that to myself over and over.
Sometimes I have to do the same.
So, yes. All right. We are trying desperately to cut this thing a little shorter. We know our episodes go forever. So, we're trying to cut it a little short. So, do you feel like we're at a good stopping point?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I think we are too. The next few weeks, we have a lot planned. I know we've been talking about having some other guests on. We're trying to get that all scheduled. And then we have some other, we've got plans for our next shows. But we do want to kind of throw something in on from here forward. And we kind of wanted to do like something fun. So my whole thing is all about teaching families and mamas about teaching your kids about finance and money and, teaching just understanding, financial understanding, laying a healthy and wealthy financial foundation for your kids. So I thought it'd be cool if we did like a mom money hack every or
like it.
a tip or something like that at the end. And so this week, for July, my whole subject for my Wealthy Kids Academy newsletter was about the big beautiful bill. So this was no matter what your politics are, the big beautiful bill has been put in place, and one of the things that was done for families was that every baby born in the year of 2025 all the way to year 2028 will be given $1,000 invested from the federal government. So what does that mean? That means that anybody that you know, whether it's you are having a baby or anyone that you know in your family or your friends or whatever, they will be given a startup fund essentially for their finances. The federal government will open an account. You can open the account, but if it's not done at tax time, it will actually be done for you to make sure that no one misses out. Every baby born in the United States will receive $1,000, and it will be invested in a very basic S&P 500 fund. So that means the top 500 companies in the U.S., it will be invested in those. And the fees are very minimal for what goes along, for what it is. It's very basic. It's a set it and forget it type of a thing. You can add to it. Employers can add to it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's unreal, the things that are, and it is, the whole idea is to start children off with something.
Yeah.
And so even if you never added to it, you never touched it, you forgot it was there, by 18, they will have money that was invested into the S&P 500 for 18 years. And that's actually when they can get to it. they can do a full withdrawal in their 20s. I can't remember the age.
That's
but
awesome.
it's a cool thing. If you don't know about it, read up on it, because if you know anybody that is pregnant or you are pregnant or plan on getting pregnant, it's awesome. You're
And repeat the years.
2025 to 2028.
8.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you are going to have a fun little section.
I
now,
do have
too.
a fun little section, and it is while you're saving your money, this you actually are going to want to splurge on, which is and producer Daniel and Amanda were like, "Are you really going to say that?" And I said, "Yes, I am." So here we are. The life hack is now that you have to go to Dairy Queen and get a Blizzard with an extra cup of the chocolate shell dip
This is sinfully amazing.
so that you can take a scoop of your Blizzard out and then dip it into the chocolate shell, which hardens pretty quickly. And it is just
I love
blissful. So I recommend the chocolate dip strawberry with the extra chocolate to dip your strawberry into.
Oh my word.
And it's amazing. So you're welcome.
You're killing me. I'm already hungry. I
Go
was
get you
hoping
one.
you couldn't hear my belly groans on the
I
recording.
haven't heard it. I don't know what's going on outside now, but
There's a lot going on. I don't know either, but
nobody knows.
all right. Well, let's end this thing. Let's land the plane.
Let's land the plane.
All right. So we hope that you guys are enjoying this. We would love feedback. If you have some feedback for us, we would love to have it. Please leave us a comment or, as you're following along, we would love for you to subscribe. We're on YouTube now. We have video, so that's amazing. Hopefully that kind of helps connect with what we're saying and our subject matter. So please follow along, give us some comments of what you would like to hear. And I know I said this before, but we are going to be doing some more kind of polling on our Instagram and Facebook about what you guys like, some subject matter. We want to hear some feedback so that we can talk about it on the show. So and we had really great turnout for that, the last one that we did. So we want to do that again. So if you guys will just follow along, you know that the only reason we can do this is because we have an amazing producer, Stay Stoked Creative Co. And you can find out more about him in the show notes. And Wealthy Kids Academy is a way to get a healthy, wealthy financial foundation for your kids.
I'm glad that you're the one that says that.
You can find more about that in the show notes below as well. Thank you guys so much for following along. This is episode 18, so how amazing. We're almost to 20.
We're almost there.
Almost there. Thank you guys.
Be
See ya.
blessed.